They are the controversy magnets of the technology world, Uber. They've, of course, been making appearances in Canberra this week, but they've also got a new competitor, a local competitor called GoCar, who are launching. And their main point of difference is that they won't be charging people surge pricing. And also, they're actually a little bit better for drivers as well. But how is it for you as a consumer? What is the better service to use? For that, we have a panel this week. Claire Riley is a technology reporter and Peter Marks is an app developer and a technology commentator. All right, I've got the two apps sitting out in front of me. GoCar, Uber, what's better?
Well, look, Uber is obviously a more slick app. They're very similar.
Even with the bad redesign they did?
Oh, I kind of like that startup
You are
screen.
wrong.
You know, that animated startup screen that goes boop like this? It's kind of
It is an
cool.
awful
That was a
redesign.
great visual of you being an animated
But,
startup.
I would
Check
like
out
to
the
get rid
video
of it.
podcast for that
But
one.
both of them, I mean, these guys have just nicked the whole user interface, including the slider thing across the bottom from choosing between a GoCar and a taxi and a, what is it, a big taxi or something or other.
Maxi taxi.
I tried it out at my home, which is on the Northern Beaches, and it basically apologised and said, "We're sorry, we're getting more drivers every day." But
Well, they
there's
launched on
no
Monday,
one."
so let's be fair.
And Uber must be nervous because they sent out a press release today promising to bring puppies to
Puppies.
anybody that asks. And you know, whenever Uber do that, they send out puppies or ice cream or kittens.
Something's
they know
gone wrong in the back boiler room.
Exactly, because I think the last time they did it, one of their drivers was up for like possibly charges in Victorian court. It's so naked what Uber do when they're getting bad publicity. They do some weird, cute stunt.
Look, the thing for me is we're very keen on the apps here. You're a developer, so you know that whole side of things. For the everyday consumer, do they worry too much about what happens when they slide the bar across and the clunkiness of that? I think Ned, I was speaking to him last week and he was saying you're looking at sort of 20-30% cheaper than Uber for off-peak fares and then sort of 10 to 15 for peak fares. They're not charging as much of a commission to drivers, so we may see it cheaper coming through. And also they have a kind of a crew of 35,000 drivers who are with GoCatch as the app provider in traditional taxis nationwide. And they've already said to those people, a lot of ride-sharing drivers, actually taxi drivers in their spare time. So they've got a really strong pool to draw from.
Don't you think, I mean, if you get into a taxi today, they often have multiple mobile phones.
I was just going to
all on
say,
different networks.
how do they have space on their dashboard for yet another mobile phone? Because you get in there now and there's like 4 of them. They've got the Indiegogo one. They've got it's ridiculous.
And they're saying it's going to be cheaper, which means that they're doing it by paying the drivers less. So the driver's sitting there, they've got an Uber device and they've got this other one and who knows what else. Aren't they going to go through them in priority order and say, I'll take the one that's got a ride at the biggest price for me?
Yeah, well, I think Ned was saying that there's really only room for 2 players in this kind of market. He was citing off a number of examples overseas. You've got Uber and Lyft in the US, for example. I think we may see the kind of consolidation of the industry and we may not have taxi drivers with 17 different phones in their cars. But I think the ability to actually go through a regular taxi or to go through ride sharing, I mean, certainly amongst my friends, it's much more popular. And these are people that are going, yep, I'll get an Uber home, you know, young women traveling by themselves at night, and it's totally accepted and fine.
Can I ask, Ned's kind of leading pitch with the differentiation between Uber and GoCar is the lack of surge pricing. Do you think people really care that much about surge pricing? Is it enough to make you download another app?
I might not download another app when I'm out in a 4G area, but I tell you what, I was down in Sydney's beautiful theatre precinct, which is so poorly serviced by public transport. Everyone came out of the show and we just could not get a taxi. Surge pricing was 4 times the rate. You just can't swallow it. And I was desperate to get home and I was still like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it.
That's the idea of surge pricing, that when there is a big demand and not many cars on the road, it encourages drivers to be on the road to actually
Absolutely.
meet that
Yeah,
need.
and
So sure, it's an economic decision for you, but if
Yeah.
it's raining and you're in the city and it's Saturday night, then you think, yes, I will pay that rather than walking.
I don't know if it's designed to get more drivers on the road as they say it is. I really think it is just like
You think it's
supply and
gouging?
demand.
I think it is supply and demand.
Yeah,
and that's
we were hearing them in Senate estimates or the hearing this week that Uber's saying we really contribute to the economy. I mean, all that money, all that revenue coming through is going to our ride-sharing drivers. And the question raised by the parliamentarians was, well, yeah, okay, great, but you can contribute to the economy and also pay tax. Those things are not mutually exclusive, just like you can have surge pricing and also be quite happy that you're getting 4 times the rate
when
out
they
of
said that, they
customers.
felt like they wanted to be patted on the back for paying their
Yeah, that's
drivers.
right.
Like,
They said,
that's
yeah.
just a thing you're meant to do. You don't get...
you pay the staff and you pay tax.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I think we will see an improvement across the industry. We saw in this week, Northern Territory have said that they haven't banned Uber. That was, I think, a bit of a misnomer. But what they've done is they've said they're not going to update their transport code to regulate ride sharing just yet. they're going to wait and see what other states do. But they're conducting a review because they know that taxis kind of, they're on notice. Yeah. So they have to improve.
There is heaps more in this discussion on the audio edition of the show. We also talked to the CEO of GoCar as well. You can find that on the RN website. Thanks, guys.